All right, yeah, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. Gonna see if it's got BSS for its local search or its city search on Google. All right, so we're in the GBC universe, taking declining boudoir photographers to the number one boudoir photographer in their city. And our North Star, as always, is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we're rising, that means we're attracting, we're bringing in people across the entire intent ladder, high intent to low intent. If we're falling, we're missing peeps somewhere along the intent ladder. We're not successfully bringing them in, or even making them aware we exist. So, BSS, focusing here on this profile, this brand, focusing on the highest intent buyers, searching right now for boudoir photo shoots right in their city, social search and Google search. Then our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, focusing on BLCS. Right now, we're only working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. And that's actually going to be the lowest intent people, in any location, but it's going to have the highest number of them. All right, so BSS is boudoir search sameness. That is when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And as a result, if we got 0 slots, we're basically dead, kind of dead in the water for on page 2 or deeper. And that's because we already know that approximately 80% of Google searches are page 1 only Google searches. So they never even go to page 2. So we care about this 80% cohort. This is the bulk of the market. So if we're in 0 slots on page 1, we're invisible to them because they ain't clicking any page deeper at all. Now, if we got 1 slot on page 1, this also is boudoir search sameness because we're looking the same as every other boudoir photographer. Everyone else on page 1's got most likely 1 link. So anyone going down the Google search, they're clicking us, they're clicking first link, second link, third link, all 10 links, opening up everyone, contacting everyone, getting a quote from everyone, price shopping everyone. And so boudoir search sameness, not good for us. Now, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is actually not normal, extremely common, but to have that few number of slots page 1 of Google is not normal. It's actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are 1, which many people know about, which is market saturation, and 2, which basically nobody knows about, is the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, it's when someone gets a new iPhone, all of a sudden they're throwing up, Google My Business profile, Google My Business profile, basically increasing and throwing up their website, competing more for page 1 dominance. Or they get a new camera, then they start posting them on Facebook groups. So basically, they're increasing the supply of boudoir photographers where the number of buyers in the market remains fixed, which means it's making it harder for every current boudoir photographer to get clients. A big tsunami when that happened was when we had COVID. So when we had COVID, massive, when people lost their jobs, they still need to earn an income. So a lot of them came out as boudoir photographers, saturating the market, making it harder for all the current sellers. Now, the second deeper root cause is the false belief of page 1 equality. This is what I've seen is the number 1 killer of boudoir photography businesses. It's basically kind of this false belief is assuming that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And, as a result, we, if you got 1 slot, okay, got 1 slot on page 1 and get some more market saturation. All right, we're pushed down onto, basically we're pushed on to, page 2, but that's fine because every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1. So I guess it's not my time anymore. Hopefully they, they shut down their website. So maybe I got a chance to go back on page 1. But no, that is 100% incorrect. Google actually wants to give as many page 1 slots to the boudoir photographer that wants as many as they'll put in the effort to acquire. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 on Google. in only 10 days. And so I know for a fact Google will give the slots to those who truly want them. Now, boudoir photographer with BSS, boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Because yeah, dude, basically we're either got 0 slots on page 1, so on page 2 or deeper. And again, approximately 80% of searchers. The bulk of the market ain't never going to see us because they're page 1 only. And then for 1 slot on page 1, we don't stand out. We're not different. We're being price shopped against everyone who also has, 1 slot on page 1. So what's the solution? We got the solution. BSS is treated with social search saturation S-cubed methodology. We know this is a solution because we invented it. Again, this is what I used to go from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 in 10 days, Google page 1 search. And this is actually the only solution I've seen that can successfully fight back against market saturation. Basically, we saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, so we show up there. And once we saturate there, the outcome is actually that flows into those results actually flow onto Google page 1 or Google. And if we get enough signals, obviously that puts us a higher chance Google puts us at Google page 1. So the S-cubed methodology, to use it, we have to accept page 1 equality as a false belief, which kind of breaks that brain barrier to, okay, what's the solution we can use? S-cubed methodology. And it's the only thing that I've seen that actually can successfully fight back against market saturation for boudoir photographers, because imagine we're in San Jose, California. It's a million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got a website. We're one of the boudoir photographers. Everyone's trying to be ranked page 1 Google, but we employ S-cubed methodology to the max, where we're taking up the first 300 slots for social search on all the platforms for our highest intent buyer keywords, which then flows onto Google. And let's say we're the first 300 slots on Google for our highest intent keywords as well. Well, that means literally the first 30 pages is filled up with only us on Google organic search. And so when we have that, buyers got to go to page 31 to essentially find any other competitors, and no one's going to page 31. So buyers can essentially only find us. So even if there's max a ton of boudoir photographers, market gets more and more saturated, we stay dominating page 1, which is actually where the bulk of searches stop. 80% of them, approximately 80% of them. So whose business is growing? Our business is growing. Whose business is disappearing? Everyone else. Even though the market's super saturated. Now, once you're with S-cubed methodology, we have page 1 visibility. Page 1 visibility is getting at least 2 out of 10 slots on page 1, where we're actually looking different. We do have a GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 though, 3 slots out of 10 slots. And once we actually achieve that, we get an extra bonus, which is for every new slot we take up on page 1, we're actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page 1, effectively making them invisible. So this is kind of an extra bonus of ranking on page 1, is we're actually kicking a competitor off page 1, and we already know approximately 80% of searchers never even go to page 2. So we effectively make our competitors invisible. But we do want to hit the GBC minimum of at least 3 out of 10. Now, page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So we don't have 0 out of 1. 0 slots on page 1. We don't have 1 slot on page 1. We do not have 2 slots on page 1. Well, 2 slots on page 1 means we don't have BSS, but that means we have not hit the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1. And we want to hit that because we actually if we got 3 out of 10 on page 1, we're kicking 2 competitors off, or maybe even 3. Also, we're going to look way more visible than simply having the people with 1 link. And very rarely will there be someone else with two links, but we'll look even better than them as well. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer. So we got to get visible. So this is our universe here. We got disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by kind of the dual horns of market saturation and page one equality, the false belief of page one equality. And we achieve, or we utilize S-cube methodology. That's our solution. We achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. So my results using this is my own S-cubed methodology for myself. I wanted to rank for the keyword BLCS boudoir. So came in here, gonna look at the organic, and got organic slot 1, Instagram, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4, slot 5, slot 6, slot 7, slot 8, and slot 10. But we got 9 out of 10 slots on Google here, simply from utilizing our S-cubed methodology. And this went from 0 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 in 10 days. And onto the main event here, and check out this boudoir photography business. Gonna see if their local search or city search, if they got BSS for either of them or both of them or what. So going to Haymarket, Virginia. Okay. Haymarket, Virginia. No, we're at DMV right now. Here's Haymarket. All right, let's see what we got here. So, all right, can't generate AI overview right now. All right, so we got 1. We got 2. We got 2. We got 3. All right. All right, we got 3. Nice. So good. So we do not have BSS, and we hit the recommended GBC minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search. All right, perfect for local search. That's good. Good start. Let's look at DMV. All right. See how many we got here. Let's see. Not seeing us at all. All right, so we are 0 out of slots, page 1 on Google for city search. So we do have BSS for city search, and we're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 for Google search. All right, so if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've gone to do the local search and the city search with the highest intent boudoir by your keywords, and you either got BSS for one of those searches or you're not reaching the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 Google slots. So you know you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, which now you know. Yeah, it's kind of the warning light, canary in the coal mine to eventually disappear in boudoir photography business. And you understand page 1 equalities, the false belief page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. And so you're kind of broken out of the mind cage. You're like, all right, we can take as many page 1 slots on Google as we want. So I've decided I'm going to put in the effort to do that. And so you're seeing S-cubed methodology is the exact solution you've been looking for. And you also understand, the market saturation is kind of natural as people get new gear, more boudoir photographer sellers for the same number of competing for the same number of buyers. And as a result, you are you're liking the initial benefit of more page 1 slots on Google. You're definitely liking the second initial benefit of basically of more peeps being kicked off page 1 on Google. And as a result, you're liking those initial benefits, and then you actually are thinking ahead to some future benefits, which is, man, AI is going to be taking so many people's jobs, and that's actually going to be the largest bringer of boudoir photographers into the market, massively increasing the number of sellers. And you're like, all right, I actually got a third benefit. I need to basically fortify my position on Google page 1. I need to have so many links on page 1, Google can't even fit them there. And Google's like, hold my links in backup to be on page 1 because I got too many links that could and should be ranking on page 1 to prevent any of these AI forced people who are losing their jobs that become boudoir photographers to ever even get on page 1. Kind of like fortifying the levees in Nolens, Louisiana, because that city is below sea level. So you're seeing kind of future benefit. S-cube's methodology is the only thing that can give that benefit. And you're also seeing that The other feature benefits, basically, as we do SQ methodology for more and more keywords, we're building up these invisible thematic keyword columns around our brand, around our business. And when we do that, it's kind of like, columns at the Parthenon in Athens, or like, think of like our business, our brand name as kind of the hub out on the internet, and then all these spokes, kind of like a bicycle wheel, going into the hub or coming out of the hub. It's basically building up AI mindshare for those thematic keywords, where it's looking at repetition, relevance, frequency, age, authority. How long we've been associated with these keywords, how many times, where we're ranking. And every day we successfully execute SQ methodology, we're actually increasing the probability of being recommended up top with the AI overview. And when we successfully rank for the AI overview, we are we're actually able, higher chance of getting this premium slot. Can't even pay for the slot with ads, this AI overview slot. And I believe it's only one person showing at a time here. And so that's a future benefit. Also, in the same breath, we're increasing the probability that we get recommended AI search, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Increased probability AI search recommends us. And yeah, Google search is still approximately 90% of global search. But dude, AI search is growing literally every single day. And as a result, we are increasing the chance to get recommended there. Last time I used AI search to search for a boudoir photographer in the city was it gave me 3. This is ChatGPT. It gave me 3. Then I went kind of like manually search, on Google or Facebook. And it turns out there's like 60. So I'm like, man, we gotta find a way to get in these 3 slots in kind of like any way possible. And so you're liking that future benefit. You're also liking that my goal my plan right now is to work with only one boudoir photographer per city. So you're seeing that since you decide to be a first mover and hop on this, you can actually prevent all your competitors from using this strategy. And because of that, you'll be able to get like massive momentum, page 1 slots kicking them off page 1, massive fortification momentum, massive back-end AI mindshare momentum with all these invisible thematic keywords being, basically plugged into your brand and growing that AI mindshare, increasing probability of AI search overview and AI search recommendation you showing up for, and basically building a gap so big none of your current competitors can catch it, nor any new entrants coming from AI taking people's jobs can catch it. And conversely, you're saying that if one of your competitors were, to start working with me and use the strategy first in your same city, then they would get all those benefits. We'd be building up a massive gap with them, with AI mindshare against you, kicking your links off page 1 of Google, and you would actually have to, then go and rederive SQ methodology for yourself, derive it the first time, then go execute it every single day correctly. And then once you do that, you would actually, if you equaled our output, you would literally be maintaining the gap with me and your competitor that already built against you. So you'd actually have to like double or triple our output in order to, basically in order to close the gap, kind of pull that AI mindshare from me and your competitor back over to you. But how's one gonna do 2 to 3x the effort when they aren't even 100% confident they've derived SQ methodology correctly in the first place? It's even worth investing all that time. So you've decided, screw it. I ain't missing this chance. I ain't missing this opportunity. I'm simply going to be the first mover and get rolling. So if that's you, shoot me a DM. My DMs are currently closed. The hospital is not currently accepting new patients. But when we do open the hospital for new patient intake, shoot us a DM and we will see if you qualify to utilize our S-cubed methodology.